From Olympic City and the home of Pikes Peak, this is the Automotive ADHD Show with Matt West.
And we are rocking it here on the Automotive ADHD Show. Matt West here, hanging out with you, talking cars for the weekend. Loaded show for you today. Toyota says they are greenlighting production of a new two-seater roadster, perhaps one to take on Miata. Now, it might not be what fans are asking for, though. I'm going to give you my thoughts and assure you that Toyota can do no wrong. I'll also talk about some good news for IndyCar fans. The Cybertruck has more issues, the first of which being Tesla. We're going to get into that. And I'm going to give you an update from a story I did last week where I ask, how do you prevent speeding without millions of dollars in speed cameras? I did get a response from a city council member, by the way, but it's not what you would expect. So I'll tell you about that and more coming up here on the Automotive ADHD Show. Of course, we're also going to play some of your car sounds on the show. Now, it has been a crazy week for me between doing some guest appearances and fill-in work on talk radio here in Colorado Springs. But between all of that, I have been scrambling to reassemble my Honda S2000 so it can finally stop being a set piece here in the garage. Now, if you watch this show on video, YouTube, and Rumble, you've undoubtedly seen it in the background behind me. And you've probably just assumed that it was a permanent fixture, perhaps like a stone monolith, unmoving for centuries, only for a distant future society to try to unearth it and maybe extrapolate some sort of existential meaning from it. But no, not yet at least. Not yet at least. I'm happy to say that I can and will, in theory, have it running and have it moving under its own power here perhaps in the next week. I know that's maybe a little optimistic, but my plan is to have it running in time for a casual autocross event next weekend to kind of shake it down. And I did a bunch of work to the suspension and a few other things. So I kind of want to make sure everything's torqued down the right way it should be. Yes, I know I probably should have marked all the bolts I torqued. No, I didn't do that. But anyway, I want to make sure it's all good before I actually take it around full speed road course and discover that I didn't torque down the brake caliper bolts or something like that. But anyway, assuming it runs, I'll get a little more serious and take it to the SCCA Rocky Mountain Time Trials. That event series is really cool, and I'm looking forward to doing that for the first time. I've never driven with that group, so that will be, assuming all things go well and the car runs, that's what I would like to do. But I will be going to the Track Attack series, kind of a casual, non-competitive sort of autocross event next weekend. It's going to be the 18th at the Pikes Peak International Raceway. If that's something you like to attend, if you're in Colorado and that's your bag of donuts, you could say, then you should come out there, and it will be a lot of fun. And I'll be hanging out there and probably trying to break the car at least, trying to shake it down. But that being said, if you are out there, I will presumably have a pocket full of Automotive ADHD keychains, stickers, and some other good stuff. So come say hi and, of course, support local racetracks. Local racetracks need all the support we can get. This is just my little way of supporting the local racetracks with my car that I'm just hoping is going to be back together. And you know what's crazy is I haven't even done any crazy mods to it. It's all like preventative maintenance, stupid stuff, suspension, bushings. It's all the stuff no one cares about or looks cool, but needs to get done. So that Rocky Mountain Time Trials event that I'll be at afterwards, again, God willing, will be 1st of June. So anyway, as you know, I play listener submitted car sounds on this show every week, and in all of my time doing this show, the past 2 years now? 2 years, yeah. I've never had anybody send me any Lamborghini noises. Or even a V12 for that matter. And quite frankly, I think this needs to change very soon, by the way. But that being said, Lamborghini, I got to tell you about this story. They know what we want. They know that enthusiasts want V12 noises so much that they have now decided to sell you V12 noises without actually needing to buy a V12 equipped Lamborghini. And this is really cool. Now, I've never been a huge supercar guy, but personally, I do appreciate things like the Lamborghini Countach, the Lamborghini Diablo, the modern Lamborghinis nowadays. I mean, modern Audi, Lamborghini, hasn't really been all that attractive to me. Personally, they haven't. The Urus is a fat SUV, and, well, it's an SUV. Everything else is, it's cool enough, but it's all rebadged Audi stuff. I get that. I know it's special Lamborghini stuff, but that being said, I mean, I don't. Modern Lamborghini is just a little too. It doesn't have the soul that it did, in my opinion. And did it ever really have soul, or is that looking back fondly on old cars? I really don't know. But whatever the old Lamborghinis have, in my opinion, new Lamborghini doesn't. But this, on the other hand, is cool. This is great. This comes by way of Caleb Miller at Car and Driver. And Lamborghini has released its most iconic V12s on vinyl. Yes, not only can you get your V12 noises, you can get them on vinyl. Yeah, so all of the sound guys, all of the audiophile sort of people, the people who like music, the people who spend $1,000 on a pair of headphones to listen to a song, those sort of people can obviously rejoice. Clearly, they're not spending $1,000 on their Lamborghini. Maybe they are. I have a feeling this isn't quite targeted for people who actually own Lamborghinis. Let me put it that way. But it is a special edition item. Now, here's the caveat. It is a Lamborghini sound vinyl record, and you can get it, and it's just got Lamborghini noises on it. There's no music, no talking. No, it is just Lamborghini noises. And the caveat, though, is that you also have to buy the special edition turntable, the Lamborghini turntable, to go with the Lamborghini vinyl record. But that is a small price to pay in comparison to actually paying for real Lamborghini V12 noises. As much as I love V12 noises, and as much as I've said I'm not a huge fan, I'm not a huge supercar guy in the first place, I'm not a huge fan of modern Lamborghini V12s, I don't care what V12 it is. V12s just have this sound that is amazing, and of course now you can plug in your Lamborghini turntable, which I'm sure is just from some Chinese manufacturer with some stickers on it, and put your Lamborghini vinyl record on it and jam out to the noises, by the way, of Lamborghinis going back to the Miura all the way to the new plug-in hybrid Revuelto. Another reason why I don't like Lamborghini, the names are hard to pronounce. Countach, I can say Countach. That's an easy one. Aventador, that's an easy one. But anyway, this, I think, will, whether you're a Lamborghini fan or not, I just like the idea that you could drop a record on and just listen to Lamborghini noises. Just sit there and bask in the, well, it's not music, that's for sure, but it's better than music, actually. It also has the 25th anniversary Countach on it, the Diablo 6.0 SE, the Murcielago LP640, all of the cool Lamborghinis on here. How much does it cost? I don't know. They haven't told us yet. This is probably one of those things where Lamborghini says, if you have to ask, you can't afford it. That's probably the case. Though, again, I do feel like this is probably targeted not at Lamborghini owners, because if you do own a Lamborghini, why would you want the sounds on vinyl? Maybe because you would want to listen to them in your house. Maybe actually that's a fair assumption. But generally speaking, you would just get in your Lamborghini and go drive it. Oh, sorry. Supercar drivers, they don't actually drive their cars. Never mind. This is for supercar drivers. So anyway, let me know if this is something you'd buy. I mean, for the right money, maybe I would do it. But you know how I love car sounds, and I don't need Lamborghini's car sounds. I don't need to pay for them when you, the listener, send me amazing car sounds on this show, which you can do, and I play them on the radio, facebook.com/automotive-ADHD. Don't go anywhere. We're back in just a minute talking about Tesla after the break.
And now for how things work with an engineer.
Transmissions. Shift.
And that was how things work with an engineer. More of how things work can be found at facebook.com/automotive-ADHD.
Those car sounds can be sent into my show, by the way. If you've got cool, interesting, or, hey, completely normal car sounds, why don't you send them into the show? I don't just play race car noises here on the show. By the way, you're listening to Automotive ADHD. Matt West here hanging out with you, talking cars. No, I play all sorts of car sounds, and maybe even not car sounds on this show. I've had people send in motorcycle sounds. I've had people send in three-cylinder tractor sounds onto the show. And people have accused me of being a EV hater. I've even played Tesla sounds. Yes, yeah. How does that work? Well, I don't know. I mean, it was kind of awkward actually because it was like 15 seconds of dead air on the radio. But it was, you know what? I still did it, and I did it for you. So Facebook.com/Automotive ADHD is the place to do it. Quick reminder, by the way, if you're listening on the podcast, yes, you can hear this show here on the weekend here in Southern Colorado, but you can also listen to it at your leisure on the podcast. And Spotify is one of many places you can do that, but Spotify lets you rate shows. If you're just hearing about that for the first time, by the way, why don't you head over to my show and go ahead and give it a rating, 6 stars, blow it up. They're on Spotify. Well, they only let you add 5, but if enough people put 6 in there, maybe they'll add that. But anyway, so go ahead and do that, and also subscribe to the show on YouTube and Rumble, wherever fine shows in this one are downloaded. Now, I got to give you a quick update on a story I've been covering for a few weeks here, and that is speed cameras. Now, I know for my national audience on the podcast, a lot of you aren't listening in Colorado, but a lot of folks are listening here in Colorado on the radio. This is still relevant for you, even if you're part of the national audience, because I'm going to talk about here in this segment how you can prevent speeding in your own city without spending millions of dollars on speed cameras and surveillance programs and things like that. Now, if you've been following along, though, for a few weeks, you know, a few weeks back, I talked about the city of Aurora, how it made some national headlines even for its tremendous failure of the speed camera program that they have going on. It cost the city hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars. They issued 7,000 citations, 4,000 of which were thrown out because they were unenforceable, had no real impact on public safety, and it had a $1 million cancellation fee should they choose to back out, which they did, and presumably that's what they're doing. They're just going to pay the fee and back out of it here. That program is supposed to end, I believe, in August now. But no sooner did I talk about that than did the Colorado Springs City Council, the city in which I reside and do this show from, they decided to do the exact same program as far as I can tell. Almost the same, I would even say probably the exact same program, down to the fact that they're using vans, I say in air quotes, equipped with speed cameras. And now they're really SUVs with a speed camera just on a tripod sitting in the back cargo shelf area pointing out a window. There's no real substantial modification done to the vehicles. There's really not. Yeah, they've got a little flash mounted on the trailer hitch. Little flash that pops. That's about it. But anyway, now I reached out to Councilman Dave Donaldson. He unfortunately didn't get back to me before this show, but he did vote against this. He was of two council people who voted against it. But entirely by chance, I ran into a completely different member of the city council. Again, totally, I wasn't planning it. Didn't know it was going to happen. Lynette Crow Iverson, councilwoman and president pro tem of the Colorado Springs City Council, was on a drive time news program here in the Springs. And I was at the radio station at the same time, and I had a chance to talk to her in person after her interview on the show. Now, on the show, she was on the program The Peak, talking with my Salem media colleague Chaim Goldman on AM 1460 and FM 101.1 The Answer. Coincidentally, or perhaps not, the same radio station you might be hearing this on if you're listening here in Colorado Springs. I'm going to play a clip of this here. Go ahead and give this a listen.
This is something that you voted for, along with the rest of the city council. Dave Donaldson and Michael Malley voted no. What's your position on this, and do you have concerns about how much surveillance is going on?
I do have a problem with it as well. I do see both sides of the story, and the reason that I voted for these red light cameras is because there's going to be 2 vans.
Or speed.
They're red light cameras for speed. They're going to
okay.
be in school zones and construction sites. They're not going to be on your highways or your veins. In the school zones, because we don't want. We've already had more than one child hit and killed. Construction zones, we already know, are very dangerous. Construction workers are always, being hit and injured, just like we see that with highway patrol on this side of the road. It is net neutral. We're not making money. We're not supposed to be making money. The police department made it very clear it should be net neutral. We will be watching that closely to make sure that's not just another slush fund for the city. If they start to make money on it, we'll have to look at that. But because we do have a lack of police officers, you've seen in the paper, we're having a hard time getting police officers to places on time. Timely, because we have such a limited amount, and it's a nationwide problem. I understand that it's not just Colorado Springs, but we do have a limited amount of police officers. That is why I supported this, because it's net neutral. We're not making money on it. It is slowing people down, or it's supposed to be a deterrent for people speeding through construction zones and school zones. Those are the places they're going to put them, and we have a limited amount of officers. And so if we want to keep our community safe with a limited amount of officers, we're going to have to make extra steps to make sure that continues to happen. I know Aurora, Colorado just took theirs out. So I will be reaching out to them to find out why, and what happened there. But for now, I'm willing to give our police chief the benefit of the doubt that this is what he needs, because this is what he's asking for.
And this is a done deal. It's been approved.
It
so
is.
They're going to move forward.
That is
on it.
correct.
Now, full disclosure, while I am not the host of that program, I do some work on the peak there. And you can hear it in Colorado Springs from 3 to 4 p.m. Mondays through Thursdays. But what's interesting to me is they approved this program and voted on it without actually confirming why the city of Aurora pulled out of their program. Now, they could have listened to my radio show here on the weekends and they would have the answer there. But now the councilwoman was polite enough to chat with me briefly after her radio interview, and I'm thankful for that. I appreciate her time on that. I asked specifically about the cost and was told the same answer, that it would, quote, break even and not be allowed to make money, and that if it does make money, they have oversight to cancel it. I also asked her about the possibility of it losing money like Aurora did, which lost so much that it literally made national headlines because of the absurdity of the situation. Now, she said they have the authority to cancel it in that situation too. Does that mean paying the cancellation fee? I don't know. But that being said, I still have some problems with the whole thing. Firstly, the ticket price in school and construction zones is $80. So let's use Aurora's prices here for the program as a ballpark, since I can't get a straight answer on what the vendor is and what they're charging the city for the program, but we know what that is in Aurora. Now, in Aurora, the vans cost $83,400 total per month for the fleet of vans, so that's $1,800,000 a year. Let's divide that by $80 a ticket, which means they need 12,510 fully collectible tickets to break even. And now, Aurora and Colorado Springs actually have similar population sizes, and Aurora only managed 7,000 citations, 4,000 of which were unenforceable for one reason or another. So they're, almost 50% under budget? It's a lot. So do the math on there. While I am making some assumptions on the numbers, because I, as a tax-paying citizen, don't have access to all the resources and information on this, but the numbers should be close. Do the math. It doesn't work. Now, I'm not just here to complain, though, because there are some practical solutions and to reduce speeding that would very likely cost a lot less. And namely, that is just road design, and this can be accomplished in a few different methods. So if you're watching on the video feed of this on YouTube and Rumble, go ahead and check this out. This is, and I'll walk you through it if you're listening on the radio, but the Global Designing Cities Initiative has some strategies that have been proven in other cities. You've undoubtedly seen these in other cities to reduce speeding. First of which is lane narrowing, which this can be accomplished even if you've already got wide roads, without actually rebuilding the road. Because, if you have to start rebuilding all these roads, that's going to quickly exceed the cost of the speed cameras. I get that. But the way you can do this here is with painting the lanes, simply painting the lanes to be a little bit narrower, especially in these school zones, right? And if you've got a wide enough road, maybe you paint the lane to be a little narrower and then have a bigger shoulder for a bike lane or perhaps for cars to street park there. And what this does is it creates kind of an optical illusion. Yes, the lane's a little narrower, but it's not really narrower from a practical sense. It's not so narrow that you couldn't drive a car there still, or a truck, or a bigger vehicle. But it's to create this optical illusion that the road is tighter than it is, which has been proven to cause people to slow down. Another thing that can be done, they do mention here, changing the radius of corners in certain areas, having a sharper radius on there so that you have to slow down more to go around the corner. Another thing is planting trees and things on the side of the road, building buildings and stuff closer. That doesn't apply to this so much. We want to do this to roads that already exist. But one great way is what they call gateways and pinch points. These are areas where there's a crosswalk, and either through paint or barriers or just a little bit of concrete work, you narrow that section of the road where there's a crosswalk. This is especially pertinent if it's a school zone, okay? So that narrows it. That causes cars to have to slow down and then proceed through there. And it gives a little bit of a safety barrier for those crossing the crosswalk. They don't have to, there's not as much road that they're crossing unshielded from vehicles. There's going to be a curb there for a majority of it. So the actual crosswalk itself is a lot shorter. This, I think, is a great idea. Again, it can be accomplished without even having to lay down more cement work. You can do it with barriers and stanchions and things that can be put up there. Could be done with that. Another great option is chicanes and lane shifts. This works well, too, for construction zones, in my opinion. And you've undoubtedly probably driven through a construction zone where this happens. You use the barriers and the cones and these things to create a shift where cars have to go left a little bit and then back right a little bit, for example. Not a huge shift necessarily, but enough that people, again, get this sense of, okay, the road's narrowing, I have to move, they're slowing down. The idea is to create, the idea with all of this is to create this visual perception of the road either being smaller or tighter than it really is. And again, we're talking with paint and maybe some barriers, maybe cones, maybe things like that, that aren't completely reconstructing your roads. Now, this same place, the Global Designing Cities Initiative has a couple of other things when it comes to slowing things down, like speed bumps and stuff like that. I'm not a big fan of speed bumps. While they work, I think they disproportionately target guys like me who drive low cars, who, even though my cars aren't that low, I still have a hard time getting over those. So anyway, hey, you're listening to the Automotive ADHD show. We'll talk more about this maybe at a future date. These are just some ideas that I definitely guarantee would cost less. Now, coming up, we're going to talk about Tesla and IndyCar. Don't go anywhere. All right, you are listening to the Automotive ADHD show. Matt West here, hanging out with you, talking cars on the weekend. Send those car sounds in, facebook.com/Automotive ADHD to have them featured here on the show. So if you are a big IndyCar fan, you need to see this. And this is your chance, by the way, to own a fleet of Indy 500 pace cars. This is cool. Now, some of these pace cars maybe aren't what you think. Maybe they're not. This comes by way of Jeremy Perez from The Drive, by the way. And Indy is really cool. The Indy 500 is so exciting. And someone at Team Penske, though, is, maybe looking to divest themselves of some exciting cars. That's that maybe is what's going on here. And they are they're selling a bunch of their vehicles at the Mecum auctions here, the 2024 Mecum Indy auction later this month. And some of these cars are, they're interesting because they're maybe not the pace cars that you think that you're thinking of. No, they're not Corvettes. No, they're not Mustangs. No, let me let me put it this way. You would have to be a die-hard Indy fan to really appreciate these cars. Is that a passive-aggressive way to say it? I don't know if it is, but they do have some interesting ones. They've got a 1989 Pontiac Turbo Trans Am, a 1994 Mustang SVT Cobra, a Corvette Z06, but these are the ones you should be interested in. 2002 Oldsmobile Bravada. Oh, man. Oh, this is gorgeous. Look at this thing. I mean, it's got a interesting livery on it here. Very unusual, to say the least. And I think it's quite an interesting vehicle for all intents and purposes. Now, it's okay. No one goes, oh, man, I really want an Oldsmobile Bravada. But this one has a 4-liter 6-cylinder engine with 270 horsepower, a 4-speed automatic transmission, and that has made this vehicle, that has helped this vehicle travel a whopping 616 miles in 22 years. What's cool about these vehicles, though, I think, is with any of these IndyCar pace cars, is A, there's the historical provenance of them being race vehicles, but B, here's what's interesting. When did anybody save an Oldsmobile Bravada? When? Nobody in the history of the universe, aside from IndyCar, has actually saved one of these. This is possibly the cleanest, nicest, newest looking time capsule of an Oldsmobile Bravada that I have ever seen. And in that regard, it's cool and I want it. In that regard, it is. Yes, the livery on it's really neat. That's fun. But it's got some other interesting things done to it. It's got some modifications that were done. It's got racing harnesses in it, because why not? It's got embroidered seats that have the Indianapolis Motor Speedway logos on the inside. Kind of interesting stuff there. Now, we also have, it's not just that. Are you ready for it? Are you ready for yet another hugely interesting and exciting car? Has anyone ever said anything exciting about a 1988 Chrysler LeBaron? Okay, this, though, is the Chrysler LeBaron Pace Car Edition. Has 227 miles on the clock. 35 years, 227 miles. Now, it's not as exciting as the 4-liter 6 in the Bravada, but it has a 2.2-liter turbo inline-4, 146 horsepower, by the way. But again, the thing with this car is it is a time capsule. I am telling you that. This is one of those things that, you know, maybe if you remember these cars when they were new, you remember how they were. But, I mean, still, I don't think anyone has seen a LeBaron this clean and this nice. And I don't think anyone has ever said clean and nice to describe a LeBaron. But it is cool. Now, the livery on it isn't as interesting. It's kind of a red paint scheme with just official pace car on the side of it. But still, a piece of motoring history. Now, finally, a 1985 Oldsmobile Cutlass Callias. Callias? Don't quote me on that one. You know how I like to mispronounce things on this show. But anyway, this Oldsmobile is got this red interior with silver accents on the seats, silver leather seats with a red interior. Man, this screams 1980s, in my opinion. This does. And once again, a official pace car for the Indianapolis 500. And, I mean, you have to be a huge Indy fan to appreciate these, I think. You have to be a massive Indy fan, and that's great. You know what? Indy is great. This has got a 3-liter V6 under the hood, 92 horsepower. That's really screaming down the track at the... at the Indy 500. 0 to 60, by the way, is 11.2 seconds. It's not, I don't know what pace it's setting, but it's not a very fast one. I'll put it that way. But you know what? If perhaps any of these vehicles really speak to you, maybe you love this silver and red themed interior, silver leather seats. I can't think of when the last time I saw silver leather seats, but they're in great shape for what it's worth. Again, barely any miles on the clock. I understand why Indy is auctioning these off. I get this now. This makes sense because, quite frankly, they probably have had these in their Indy museum that they've got, their display, their exhibit. But, it's just, I understand why they might be shuffling these ones out to make room for some other ones. But that's the beauty of it, though, because weird, interesting, strange cars, that's what at least gets car guys like me really excited, because no one has a 2002 Oldsmobile Bravada Indy Pace Car Edition. I mean, no one has that. It's a car with a story, undoubtedly because it's one of the lesser interesting Indy pace cars. It's probably not going to fetch that high of a price at auction. In a weird way, this is kind of a blessing because it is a affordable means to get an actual Indy pace car. I'm just saying, the cool ones. Yeah, the SVT Mustang Cobra. Okay, that's going to go for a lot. The Corvette Z06, that's going to go for a lot. But no, the Oldsmobile Bravada, this is a bargain. The LeBaron, a bargain. And I think that if I didn't already have a bunch of unreasonable and expensive, terrible cars that don't run, I think I would buy some more unreasonably expensive, old, terrible, and interesting cars. Particularly that LeBaron, by the way, because it's also a drop top. Convertible. Come on. You can show up to your Cars and Coffee in this, and everyone's going to just see an old LeBaron. But deep down, that it's still an old LeBaron, but it's a really nice old LeBaron. So, really cool stuff there. Let me know if you would buy these on the Facebook page or comment on the YouTube comments as well. I think that's really cool. I got to talk a little bit about Cybertruck here, and I'll probably carry this over here into the next segment, since I went a little long gushing over these cool old Indy cars. But Tesla has had a number of issues with their Cybertrucks. They've had challenges. There's a reason every Cybertruck you see on the road, it doesn't have the wheel covers like it should. And I've even heard some of them have been rusting, by the way. Rusting! That's a stainless steel truck, and it's rusting. Anyway, we'll get to that. But another Cybertruck owner had their vehicle break down after only 35 miles, and Tesla had the audacity, initially at least, to deny the warranty claim. And it was only until the owner took to social media to complain to Elon, presumably, that it was happening. Is this the world we live in, where you have to go on social media to actually get anything done? It shouldn't be that way, but we're going to talk about those details and the new Toyota that you need to know about coming up here after the break. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to Automotive ADHD, and it's right here.
Colorado Springs' #1 car show by default. This is Automotive ADHD.
Yes, it is. Matt West here, hanging out with you, talking cars on the weekend. So I got to talk a little bit here about Cybertruck, everyone's favorite or least favorite truck on the market. And Cybertruck has had some issues, some cyber troubles, you could say. And the latest of which is that a Cybertruck owner bought their vehicle and drove it 35 miles to a charging station, in which they decided to plug it in and, charge it. And after charging it for a bit, it started spewing coolant out of it. And you might say, but it's an electric car. Why does it have coolant in radiators? Well, electric cars need radiators still to cool the battery pack. And motors and things like that. They generate heat, which is proof, by the way, that there is some inefficiency when you are charging a vehicle. When you're taking that electricity and moving it into a battery pack, it's generating heat. That means some of that energy is being lost as heat. Now, I won't get into the huge argument right now about how gasoline and diesel have significantly better energy densities than electric batteries do. Electric cars, in terms of energy density, still can't hold a candle to gasoline, even though you probably don't actually want to hold a candle to gasoline. That could end poorly for you. But anyway, where the problem is here, the problem isn't the Cybertruck. And Tesla's #1 problem, in my opinion, is Tesla. Because what's going on here, right? All right, yes, another Cybertruck with another weird issue. We hear a lot about these. But the issue isn't the problem with the truck. I get it. Manufacturing mistakes happen. Things get through quality control. Stuff gets damaged during shipping. Totally get it. That happens to not just Tesla. I'm not here to just slam on Tesla. Well, not quite. Because one of the things I am slamming them for is the fact that when the owner of this called Tesla, I'll read his tweet he had here. Quote, picked up my beast today in Pensacola. Drove to the superchargers about 35 miles away in Crestview on my way back home to Destin, Florida. While supercharging, coolant started pouring out of the rear of the truck. Called Tesla service. First, they told me they don't cover coolant leaks under warranty. After a few choice words, they said they would send a tow truck. Crazy. They don't cover those under warranty. The truck drove away. You literally just saw the dude 35 miles before that, assuming you're driving at highway speeds. That's like, 30 minutes, basically, right? You just saw the dude 30 minutes ago, and you say, yeah, no, we're not covering that. Now, Tesla does have a limited warranty, 4 years, 50,000 miles. Should be covered 100%. Now, maybe they were implying he hit something along the way. He says he sent them pictures and proof that wasn't the case. They still denied his warranty claim on it up until the point where he tweeted. He got on Twitter and tweeted at Elon Musk. Apparently, that's the only way to actually accomplish something customer service-wise at Tesla, which is tweet Elon Musk and tag him in it. And after doing that, miraculously, they said, yeah, we'll cover your warranty claim and we'll even detail your truck for you. Which, by the way, was something they were supposed to have done before delivery. That was one of his complaints. Hey, I got the truck. It was filthy. Definitely wasn't ready for delivery. And we're seeing this happen a lot with Tesla as a whole. And this isn't exclusive to Cybertruck. It is that cars are coming in for delivery and they're moving them so fast. Who knows if anyone at the dealership is actually getting in them, making sure everything's right, cleaning it, detailing it. Clearly, they're not. And that's crazy when you think that you're spending $100,000+ on one of these vehicles and that's not happening. I'm just saying. Now, I understand, like I said, that cars get damaged during shipping, things get scratched. There's a good chance if you've bought a new car that it has had some sort of scratch or damage done to it during shipping, which was then remediated at the dealership before you ever got it and even knew anything about it. That happens. Dealerships repaint panels, respray stuff. You never know about that, but they totally do it, by the way. Ask anyone who works at a dealership. The fact is, Tesla's not even going that far and doing that. And also, why is it in this social media world that it should not be acceptable if you're a company for your customer service to exist around tweeting the founder of the company? That should not be how you get things done. You should say, hey, I bought this truck 30 minutes ago. It's got this problem. They go, we're so sorry about that. We're sending a tow truck. We're sending a replacement vehicle, a temporary rental. We'll take care of you. And, here's, a gift certificate to our little merchandise area in our parts store. Here's a ball cap. Here's a hat. Here's a t-shirt or something, right? Like there should be something like that. And it's not happening with Tesla. And so I think Tesla's biggest problem is Tesla right now. They need to step up the customer service game when it comes to these expensive vehicles. Now, I'm not just here to slam the Cybertruck. I know. There's things I don't like about Cybertruck. I don't like the tech bro culture around it. I think it's an unfinished product. Also, I think it's ugly. I will say, here's what I do like about the Cybertruck. Anyway, so I'm just kidding. No, I do like the innovation. I do like some of the manufacturing processes they're doing. They've got a 48-volt interior electronic system, which is pretty revolutionary, at least in the automotive sector. There's some cool things I like about it. I don't like, by the way, the drive-by-wire steering. That to me, no, there needs to be a shaft connected between me and the wheels. Whether it's an electronic steering rack or not, I don't care. But there needs to be some physical connection there, just from a safety aspect in my mind. But anyway, so that's Tesla. I could hem and haw about Tesla more. Also, did you hear that some of the Tesla Cybertrucks they're rusting? Yeah, people are. It's a common problem, apparently. It's a stainless steel truck, by the way, and it's rusting. But that's neither here nor there. Let's get that customer service going, Tesla. People are spending money. They want your products. Let's make it right. I think people would be willing to wait. I mean, yeah, we waited like 10 years for the Cybertruck. It was really like 4. But I'd be willing to wait longer if I knew it was done right and it was done well. So there you go. Speaking of companies that do things right and do things well, I got just a few minutes to talk about this. Toyota, the best auto manufacturer in the universe, who is the opposite of Tesla, who can literally do no wrong, no matter what they do. I do say that tongue planted in cheek, but anyway, they have announced that they are going to be making a Mazda Miata competitor. And this is weird to me. Cool, but weird. They announced it actually back in 2015 when they made a concept car that actually looked more like a production vehicle than a concept car. It's a small 2-seater roadster. Very cool. Really like it. They called it the SFR concept. Well, now, as of just now, it's been almost 10 years, they've said, oh, hey, we're actually going to greenlight the production on the SFR concept. Now, are they going to call it that? We don't know, but they're saying it's going to launch 2026 or late 2026 or early 27. We'll obviously probably seeing a bunch of media and things about it here in the coming year or so. And Forbes says it will launch then, and it is in co-development with Daihatsu and Suzuki. Toyota, with its sports cars, as you know, likes nowadays. In the past, it was different. Nowadays, they collaborate with BMW on the Supra, Subaru on the GR86, and it sounds like Daihatsu and Suzuki. Daihatsu's a big manufacturer in Japan, by the way. We don't see much of their stuff here in the U.S., but they are a big and reputable company in Japan. And this is great. A small 2-seater sports car is what we need. We don't need more commuter cars. We don't need more Camrys and even Corollas, I say as an owner of a crusty Corolla. But we don't need, no, we need sports cars. I get that the mass cars sell. They do. They sell to the general public. But this is neat. Now, where does it sit, though? Where does it sit? They're saying it's going to probably have a performance version of the 1.3-liter 3-cylinder engine used in the GR Corolla. That's a great engine. Makes great power with boost. I mean, it's a potent engine for 3 cylinders. But where does this sit? Because you've got the GR86. That's the cool rear-wheel drive sports coupe. You've got the GR Corolla, the all-wheel drive fun sports hatchback. And then you've got the Supra, the top-tier grand touring car, higher horsepower, you know, more of a serious car. Where does this sit, though? And doesn't the the GR86 already compete with the Mazda Miata? It does. It totally does. So I have a theory, and this is where Toyota fans, myself included, might be kind of disappointed. This looks like a small enough vehicle that it might be a Europe and Japan only vehicle. Toyota likes to do this to us. They did this with the GR Yaris too. They say, hey, we got this really cool thing. We're announcing it to the world. Oh, we're only selling it in Japan, though. That's what I think. Now, it's not going to be a K car because they're saying it's going to have possibly a 1.3-liter, the same one. So maybe it'll make it here. If it does, well, you know who's first in line for one. So there you go. Toyota can do no wrong, even when they don't sell cool cars that we should get. So anyway, thanks for listening to Automotive ADHD here on the radio. Remember to subscribe to it on YouTube, Rumble. Give it a rating on Spotify. I'll talk to you next week when we're talking, you guessed it, more cars right here.